All right, welcome back to our discussion of the 14 Tenets of Fascism. Yesterday we talked about obsession with national security. Today we will be talking about religion and government are intertwined. Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders, even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. What do you think?
I think if you think Trump's bad, wait till he's gone and Pence comes in. It's going to be way worse.
I do not disagree.
But yeah, it's been bad, and you know, the religion that happens to be the predominant or prevalent religion in the United States is Christianity or Catholicism. And yeah, both of those are intertwined in the government in a sickening way. I mean, just look at the people. They have prayer meetings in the White House. They have 10 commandments in front of courthouses. They were put there for a movie, not because of anything else. They were promotions like movie posters. But yeah, in every way, shape, and form, all our presidents seem to have to be from religious in some kind, and that's an issue people had with Obama, because these people believe that, probably mainly because of people like Donald Trump, that he was a Muslim when he was a Christian. And that drove them crazy because they want their religion. Like, look at what's her name? Betsy DeVos. People like that just so blatantly trying to merge politics with religion in this country.
Right, even under... I'm sorry, I was just going to say, to bring up the executive order that was signed by Trump back in May, the Religious Liberty Executive Order, which was allowing for broad exemptions to technically churches and along the lines of those people, quote-unquote, of faith, so that they can openly discriminate against those under protected classes, like gay or lesbian or transgendered or anything that they want to do. If they just could say that, well, my Christian faith, and you notice it's always only the Christian faith. If somebody else's faith chooses not to do something, then they're just tore apart.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, Christians should be able to do all these things that Muslims should not be able to do. And when we talk about, some very basic statements the founding fathers said, which, the people who want to put Christianity above all religions and interweave it with the government, they're always like, the founding fathers said this, the founding fathers meant this, da-da-da-da-da. Well, what the founding fathers said was, they said all men are created equal, all men are given certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's pretty clear that they didn't mean Christians.
The founding fathers said
otherwise they wouldn't have said people. Well, they just wouldn't have said all people if they only meant Christians.
And I agree with you on that. I just want to state that, they also define black people as 3/5 of a person.
That's what I was just going to bring up.
Yeah. No, I'm just pointing out, hypocrisy in that whole movement. Because once again, where you find these people trying to force a Christian theocracy on us, you usually find people who call themselves patriots, who
and constitutionalists,
love the Constitution and love the founding fathers, as long as we're talking about applying what they said to white people and Christians.
But not Thomas Jefferson, because he's the one who used the term separation of church and state, and Texas took him out of their history books in 2010 because of that.
Wow.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the Texas school book controversy. And then it's a big thing because it's not just Texas. Texas is huge, as we all know. And we don't make different American history books for every state. It's one publisher. They have different state history books. But this was a big thing because of everything that they tried to remove. And all of it was for religious purposes. They wanted creationism, but no evolution in their science books. And they got it. The board refused to require that the students learn that the Constitution prevents the U.S. government from promoting one religion over all others. Instead, they promote Christianity, even though the Constitution specifically prevents that. They took out Thomas Jefferson from the curriculum and replaced him with religious right icon John Calvin. That's just some of it. But
most of the founding fathers didn't want a religion. They twist their words. They take little parts of what they said. Most of them didn't want. They weren't even. A lot of them weren't even religious in any way. Or they were. What were they? They were like deists. They weren't Christians. And people need to really look into that and read about it. The ones who were saying this country was founded on God and Christianity. No, it wasn't. Nowhere in history was it.
On Our Money and God We Trust was not even allowed on our money until 1957. Before then, it was considered unconstitutional because separation of church and state. But in 1957, they did, they went through the Supreme Court, and now it's mandated on every bit of, whether it's dollar bills or coins. It's on everything.
That was done as an answer to communism, was it not?
I do believe it was, yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have all of these. We have all these. I completely lost my train of thought.
It's okay. It happens regularly for me.
Yeah.
But we can look at the different monuments here. I think that perfect examples of this would be. I think it's what are they? The Church of Satan or something? I don't know. But really, all they really have nothing to do with religion. They really have nothing to do with the Bible or Satan or God. But they take people to court over their hypocrisy. So, like during Christmas, they will take people to court who are having a nativity scene on state property, on taxpayer property, and if they don't win that way, what they'll do is they'll do something very similar, but it'll be something offensive to the Christian religion. And you can see this throughout the last 20 years. They've been constantly doing this in order to kind of show the hypocrisy of it. And it works well. Again, I'm not promoting any kind of church of anything.
No,
I'm an atheist.
They are atheists. And what they do is, like, say the Christians decide they're going to do a prayer at a city hall meeting or a government meeting. They'll show up and do a prayer to Satan or to another religion to show them, like, you're not the only religion. If it's okay for you to do it, it's okay for us to do it. They had a big statue of Baphomet or something they were going to put up in response to the Ten Commandments a while back. People flipped out.
I know, that was brilliant.
They really don't understand. Like, if you say that we're going to have prayer before a public meeting, then yes, a Muslim should be able to come and pray. A Satanist should be able to come and pray. Any religion should be able to come and pray because your religion is no better or worse than theirs. They're all a bunch of fairy tales, in my opinion. But to
right,
Well,
in a constitutional republic, that's what's supposed to happen. Everybody gets to practice their religion, their way, as long as they're not hurting anybody. That is literally that is literally how you define a constitutional republic's attitude toward religion. And a lot of people say, I've heard this argument put out, and I just want to go at this argument. Oh, well, they can go ahead and practice their Muslim faith, or they can go ahead and practice their Wicca. We're just going to have our 10 Commandments out here in the public square, and they don't have to follow the 10 Commandments. They can practice their own religion at home or in their gatherings. No, when you put a religion's stuff in the public square, you're giving that religion legitimacy. And when you don't put other religions' stuff in the public square, you are robbing that religion of legitimacy. It is a form of coercion. And that's unconstitutional as fuck. Now, I don't mind going to a town and seeing a Christian whatever. But when I go to towns all over the country and all I see is Christian religious symbolism, it's sending a message Christianity is really the only way here in America. That's not cool, and it's not accurate, and it's unconstitutional as fuck.
Yeah, and most of the Ten Commandments don't have to do with anything realistic anyway. It's all about kissing God's ass and no other gods before me and no false idols and all. There's a couple good ones, but there's no thou shalt not own other people and have slaves. That's not in there. Thou shalt not rape women. I mean, it says stuff about your neighbor's wife or whatever. But it's like there's so many things that this almighty being could have done better with his 10 commandments other than say, kiss my ass through most of them. And the commandments on the courthouses and stuff, I believe, I don't know, Gail might know better than me, they were put up in the 50s or whenever that 10 Commandments movie with Charlton Heston came out. They were like basically just movie posters and promotion for that movie. People don't understand that. They think that God himself came and put these on American soil because God loves America. He loves his guns and his flags. You know what I mean? It's these people are nutty.
This month alone, there's been controversy over Democratic, I think the representative J. Lewis Correa in Santa Ana, who every year he hangs the winner of, it's a high school, I believe. Let me find it. It's right here. Each year, scores of high school students across the country compete in a congressional art competition, submitting works of art for a chance to be featured at the U.S. Capitol. And he hangs them up. And this year was the Statue of Liberty with a hijab that is the American flag. And he keeps it hung up. But there has been so much controversy over it this month because, it's being featured as a Muslim, and so you hear people saying, well, there's supposed to be separation of church and state, but it's always Christians who have no problem. And if you ask them, well, what about this, that, or the other? They're, oh, well, that's different. We're a Christian nation. So the hypocrisy they have no problem with. They know that they're hypocrites, but they just see it as it's their God-given right in America.
I asked a guy last night online, you guys might have seen it on Twitter. I was like, how can you be a Christian? He claimed to be a Christian and support Trump. He's against everything in your book, both Old Testament and New. How many times has he been divorced? Grabbing women by the pussy isn't in the Bible, Just everything about this guy is anti what that book stands for in every way, shape, and form. With the exception of maybe his hatred for gay people and stuff like that. That's totally in the book.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not totally, against that book. I mean, I'm rather familiar with that book, and Numbers 31:17 and 18 say, "Now kill all the boys and kill every woman who has slept with a man, but all the girls who have not slept with a man, spare for yourself." Talking about genocide except for the women who have not been with a man, take them as your sex slaves. Okay, we have people today who do that shit. They're called ISIS. And so first of all, Donald Trump's disdain for human rights is right in line with the Bible. And as far as this religion should not be the official religion of the United States or any country. If people want to practice it, fine, but I should not be compelled in any way or pressured to follow a religion that says kill entire civilizations of people except their women who you will keep who haven't been with a man, which is usually, really young, maybe even prepubescent, keep them as your sex slaves.
Yeah, that's true. But his divorces alone disqualify him from being a religious candidate, and they don't seem to see that. But it's ridiculous. They don't read their book, and they think it's the end all be all of everything. And if you ask them, if you say America wasn't created as a Christian nation, then they'll go to the default, which is their religions are false. It just never fails. There's never an end to their bullshit hoops they'll jump through to justify this.
Well, I think you illustrated there another way that this is manifesting in America at a really fast clip, because what you have is you've always had this and I'm not going to lump all Christians together because, of course, if Pastor Mac V were here, he would be agreeing with us on these Christian fundamentalists who want to make the government a theocracy. He would disagree with that completely. But there is that element of Christianity that wants to force Christianity upon us. And man, I lost my train of thought again.
The funny thing about that is
I have to just so people know, because you hear me when I do like serious podcasts, I'll be like this and whatever. I do have a traumatic brain injury from police brutality, and it does cause me at times when I want to start a sentence to have a hard time figuring out how to say it, and sometimes to lose my thought right in the middle of a sentence. It's a diagnosed traumatic brain injury from police brutality. If anybody who wants to attack this show and wants to try to use me as an example of why this show shouldn't be taken seriously, fuck you, you're an asshole, because I do this because of this traumatic brain injury caused by police brutality.
Yeah, don't use Steve. Use me, because I never think before I talk. I just spew whatever the hell I'm pissed off about.
You can use me because I'm a woman and we're talking about the Bible, so I don't have any rights.
Exactly. Stay in your
I did
place.
want to bring up, before those. I mean, one thing about American Christians and probably worldwide Christians that just haven't, I don't have that kind of information to use, but American Christians love to pick and choose the Bible, right? So the Bible states that you can't, anybody who mixes fabrics, Leviticus 19:19, anybody who mixes fabrics needs to be killed. So like if I wear wool and polyester or any satin, then I should be killed because I mix my fabrics. Or eating shellfish or eating pork. All of these are things that you're not supposed to do according to the Bible, yet, of course, most Christians in America have not read the Bible. All they do is they've taken words from somebody that they've been taught, whether it's in church, whether it's whatever mega pastors on TV trying to scam them for money, and they take that to heart. So, like, that's why you'll always hear the argument about homosexuality being in the Bible, blah, blah, blah. We could do this all day. Go through it. I've read it. Religion was my minor in college. We spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah, the stoning the homosexuals is in the same chapter as it talks about not eating shellfish.
Yeah.
And I heard some guy on YouTube, I don't know who it was, but it was hilarious. He goes, nothing makes my day more than going into Red Lobster and seeing a bunch of Christians eating shrimp talking about how they hate gay people.
Right.
Well, I remember now what I was trying to say earlier, how this is manifesting, how you had pointed to how this is manifesting. And what it is this element of Christianity that wants to make this a Christian nation, quote unquote, and wants a theocracy. They are so desperate to have it now, and they are pushing so hard for it, that they are willing to accept a president who basically is a complete anathema to the values they claim to hold and that we should all hold. They're willing to accept that just to get their political power.
Yes, these evangelicals are absolutely fucking ridiculous. And the one good thing that I will say has come out of this, or at least in my opinion, is that the world now gets to see how hypocritical American Christians are.
Yeah, and you know what's going to be a shame is when they realize that Sharia law is pretty damn close to the same thing they'll have when they get Christian law.
I was going to say that you have the far right extremists, especially the evangelicals that are getting power now, that have, some say over what Trump does and says with this religious liberty bill. With, we always hear about the evangelicals in the White House. You've got Jerry Falwell Jr., who's like one of Trump's best friends, who's always out trying to, whatever this week's scandal is, stick up for Trump. Even just of course, the other day stating that there are good people in white supremacy, things along those lines that we hear. But they are nothing but absolute hypocrites for those that have actually read the Bible or study it. And I'm glad that they are getting called out more, but they have more power now.
Yeah, I would argue that those people actually are following the Bible closer than the Christians that are more loving and caring, because that book is a horrible, horrible book. I believe all these books are horrible books, but we don't want people to follow the books. We want people to have their own washed out version of the books because it's much safer for the rest of us.
Well, these books all say some really, really cool, wonderful things. They also say some very cruel, barbaric things. I'm not going to call religion good. I'm not going to call it evil. It's just a thing that is. It's there. What I think everybody who is rational and not a fanatic can agree on is religion should not be our government.
Yep. On that note, is there anything else anyone wants to add to this?
Nope.
Cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and end it. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. Tomorrow's episode will be, I'm looking it up right now.
Corporate power is protected.
Thank you. Corporate power is protected. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening.